Only 2 of Claude Design's 5 boldest claims actually hold up. If you're betting a client project on the agency replacement hype, that gap is going to cost you. Claude Design just launched and everyone's talking about it, so I'm testing its 5 boldest claims right now to see which ones actually hold up. And the claim that shocked me most was the revenue number, and whether you should trust it before you restructure your whole workflow around this tool. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day, so you don't have to be. Every number in this review is traced back to sources Anthropic and independent reviewers actually published. Solo builders and small teams deciding whether Claude Design replaces a $5,000 to $10,000 agency contract need the real answer, not the hype. Claim 1, agency-grade output in one evening, worth $5,000 to $10,000 in agency fees. You've probably seen the demos, and the objection I keep hearing is that it only looks good until you actually try to ship it. So let's look at what reviewers found when they pushed Claude Design past the demo and into something a real client would pay for. What I found was pretty interesting. Blog reviews confirm Claude Design can produce parallax scroll, 3D elements, video backgrounds, and animated transitions, so the interactive output is genuinely advanced. The catch: community reports make it clear that without detailed prompts, output is generic AI slop, and the effort to avoid that basically defeats the speed advantage, which is kind of the whole point. This claim is partially true. What you actually get depends almost entirely on how much work you put into the prompt. The interactive ceiling is real, scoring an 8.5 out of 10 for output quality. And the floor is just as real, so this one lands in the middle. 0 claims, fully holding up. 1, partially true. Claim 2, repo-aware trustworthiness. The day your AI design tool ignores your actual code base and spits out components that clash with your existing design system, you're spending hours on cleanup instead of shipping, and that's the real cost. Anthropic says Claude Design reads your repo and applies your design tokens automatically. So let's see if that's actually what happens. Okay, so this one actually surprised me in a good way. Anthropic confirms it reads your codebase and builds a team design system from your colors, typography, and components, and an independent review verified the June 17th, 2026 update lets it import real components and fix design drift before you even see the output. Codebase grounding scores a 9 out of 10. The honest caveat: it still confabulates on factual research, so don't use it as a fact checker. This claim delivers. Going in, I figured repo awareness would be mostly marketing, but both Anthropic's announcement and an independent blog confirmed it's real and working. The design system import is verified, and that puts us at 1 claim, fully holding up, 1, partially true, out of 2, tested. The confabulation problem is real, but it's a separate issue from the design workflow. Claim 3, on-brand consistency. Say you're a solo founder, it's Friday afternoon, and you need a landing page that actually looks like your brand, not a generic template someone else is also using. The homogenization risk is real. Anthropic says Claude Design applies your design system to every single project automatically, so let's check whether that's fast enough and distinct enough to matter. What surprised me here was the speed. An independent reviewer called it the fastest on-brand draft tool they've ever tested. And I believe it, because the idea-to-draft gap closes faster than any traditional workflow I've looked at. Brand consistency scores a solid 8 out of 10. Speed to draft scores a 9. The caveat I can't ignore: community reports say different users' outputs can look nearly identical, so the homogenization risk is worth knowing about. This claim delivers. The homogenization problem is real, but the verified speed and brand consistency are strong enough that this one holds up. It's not a Figma replacement, and it doesn't need to be. 2 claims verified now, 1 sitting in the middle, out of 3 tested, and the idea to draft speed is genuinely the standout here. Alright, so we've got 2 claims verified and 1 sitting in the middle. The next 2 tests are the ones that actually decide whether Claude Design fits into a real revenue workflow or whether it's just a fast prototyping toy. The revenue claim and the confabulation problem are still ahead, and both of them could change how you think about the whole tool. Claim 4, a solo builder pulling in $5,800 a month using Claude Design. That number is circulating everywhere right now, and if you're thinking about restructuring your client workflow around it, you need to know whether it's a real verified figure or just a community story someone posted on Hacker News. Let's look at what the evidence actually says. Okay, so here's what I found. The full brand system built in an afternoon is actually verified. Brand brief to design system to pitch deck to landing page. All confirmed by an independent blog. And that part scores an 8 out of 10. But the $5,800 a month revenue figure? I couldn't find a source URL anywhere. It's community reported, so treat it as anecdotal. And one user burned 95% of their weekly usage allowance on back and forth tweaks alone. This claim falls short. The afternoon brand build is real, but the unverified revenue number and the usage limits both undercut the story, and usage limits score just a 2 out of 10 for heavy workflows. So we're at 2 claims verified, 1 partial and 1 that doesn't deliver, out of 4 tested. The $5,800 figure is the one to watch out for when you see it shared around. Claim 5, confabulation and false confidence. Say you're using Claude Design to research a design decision for a client. It gives you a confident, well-formatted answer, and you ship based on it, then the client finds out it was wrong. That's not a minor inconvenience. That's a trust problem. The community is saying this happens frequently, so let's see what the evidence actually shows. What I found here is pretty concerning. Community reports on Hacker News confirm Claude confabulates frequently and produces incorrect information with false confidence, especially for decision-making research. Confabulation frequency scores a 2 out of 10. Research reliability scores a 3 out of 10. And there's a separate output homogenization problem where one user's success story design was nearly identical to another user's default output. None of these are small caveats. This claim falls short. The confabulation concern turned out to be more specific and more verified than I thought going in, and community reports make it real, not just vague AI skepticism. This is not a tool for fact-based design decisions. Final tally. 2 of 5 claims fully hold up, 1 is partially true, 2 fall short, and that's the honest picture. Here's where Claude Design genuinely shines. Repo-aware generation is real and verified. It reads your actual codebase and applies your design system automatically. It's the fastest idea-to-draft tool an independent reviewer has tested. And a full brand system, brief to design system to pitch deck to landing page, is confirmed buildable in a single afternoon. Here's where Claude Design falls short. Confabulation is a real, community-verified problem. Incorrect info delivered with false confidence, especially for research-dependent decisions. The $5,800 a month revenue figure is unverified, full stop. And weekly usage limits are genuinely restrictive. One user burned through 95% of their allowance just on back and forth tweaks, calling it a plaything, not a real production tool. 2 of 5 is the honest number, and I think that's lower than most people buying into the hype right now would guess. Worth it if you need to turn a rough idea into an on-brand, clickable draft fast, and you've got the prompt discipline to avoid generic output. Skip it if you need a research assistant, a Figma replacement, or a verified path to $5,800 a month. 2 claims deliver. Budget for the weekly caps. If you're curious how Claude Design's underlying model stacks up when you actually give it a coding workflow, I ran a full head-to-head in Windsurf versus Cursor, and the speed gap there is way more interesting than I thought it would be. That one's worth watching before you commit to any AI design or dev tool right now.